welcome on board. It's another Saturday. It seems like the days go so fast. I absolutely cannot believe from the last time we caught up to now, it's been almost 7 days. Well, it is fun time. It's nerd night, so I don't know if anyone else is looking forward to Saturdays. I am always looking forward to Saturdays because nerd night is literally the best part of my Saturday. So if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome on board. If this is your I don't know 20th time in a long time, welcome back. If you've taken some break and went on a trip, and like Andre, actually, we should probably search you to see if you've been chipped by the Communist Party. But anyways, I digress. But if you're just joining us for the first time, it's great to have you here. This is Ned Night. This is one of those times that we catch up together as a community to learn something new, to have a lot of laugh, which you guys have seen already. We spent the last 20 something minutes just having a good old time. So for today, obviously, we're going to be diving into incident response, tabletop, why it's useful, what we use it for. But before we do that, we are going to run through our threat landscape segment, and from there we would finish up with some essentially question and answers, lab assistance, and mentor hang. So without going further, I'll probably quickly introduce myself. So I'm Sammy Chucks, so one of the mentors and content creators here at CyberLynk. And I also happen to be the founder of CyberLynk as well. No, nothing special there. I am definitely not special. Really, really excited to be here. I am learning with everyone alongside everyone. As everyone saw last week, we are all learning together, and that's really what it comes down to, right? It's that consistency and that ability to keep showing up even when it doesn't feel like it's easy or when you don't feel like it. So with that, I would say welcome again, and I'll hand it over to one of our, I think the best mentor so far, Sarah. So to quickly introduce yourself, yes, Nathan, you can keep quiet if you're envious. But yeah,
Uh,
Sarah, give us a
sure.
quick update. What have you been up to this week? What have you been doing?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll get started with I did a CTF today with Homesglen, so it
Ooh,
was good fun.
ooh,
Uh, it was had a nice range of red teaming and blue teaming activities, reverse engineering, some traffic analysis, and malware analysis, some and then red teaming. So all of that good command injection, SQL injections,
nice.
um, yeah, all of that fun stuff. And it was pretty fun. The last hour they turned off the leaderboards, but I was on top. And the results come out Monday. So looking forward to seeing who won.
A
Oh,
champion.
that sounds like a pretty.
CyberLink dominates everywhere.
I know that's it. People
Yeah,
get
I'll
popular.
make sure to brand CyberLink when I get
Oh,
when I get
jeez.
announced if I do. But yeah, that was good.
You literally just go on
Excellent.
stage. You know, I'm really
Make sure
excited
to
to be
sign up
receiving
to
this award.
CyberLink.
It's like the fighters have like a post-fight interview and everything. So Sarah's gonna be like, I want to say that I wouldn't be
CyberLink.
here without CyberLink.
To be like
And
the opponent fought hard, but they couldn't defeat us.
Yeah.
All right, over to you, Nathan. A quick introduction so we can move on pretty quickly.
All right. SOC analyst by day, ethical threat actor by night, malware analyst. Who knows what? I didn't do any CTFs today.
What
Um,
what what were you doing today? Just eating pizza all day, or
yeah. That's right. I was eating pizza all day. I bought 10 pairs of socks, and I bought clothes, and
woohoo?
did some
Finally.
shopping. Tried to look for a mattress. Found out that the mattress I was looking at wasn't at Harvey Norman, and that was my day.
Ah, it's good. It sounds very eventful. So, all right,
Oh,
look.
it is a
Sounds productive. Is that t-shirt? Is that one of those new t-shirts,
This
Nathan?
the Cyberlink one? No, it's not. Well,
Nah.
you just reminded me to probably showcase our merch again. Where is the box? Oh, come on. All right, if this is your first time coming, we do have Cyberlink merch. So we have t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, whichever one that you want. Just let me know. Send me a DM. on Discord, and we can get you one. They're actually very inexpensive, so and they look really good as well. So yeah, with that, let's dive right into the best segment of the day, the threat landscape segment. So if this is your first time attending, Nerd Night, this session is actually a really good. I think it's one of the best sessions for me, especially. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that I have to read to you guys, but for the most part, it's one of those times that we get to actually see what's been happening out there in the cybersecurity community, what's been happening globally with threat actors, the recent hacks, vulnerabilities, and essentially just keeping up with with the Jones, really, just making sure that we are at the bleeding edge of the threat landscape. So for today, we've got a few things on the list there. So one of them, this one is probably a little bit more detailed. It goes a little bit more in depth. So this one here. So since we've actually spent quite a lot of time, catching up today, I'll probably skip that. But I would definitely recommend people go and have a look at this because Palo Alto Unit 42 have actually put together some really good resources on how you can actually, try to jailbreak AI. So it's a really good read. I was going through it. They actually also published a technical blog which you can find here. If I go back real quick and chuck that in here, which you can find at this address, it actually takes you through the key five the five prompt injection vulnerabilities that are possible. So this is the first time this has ever been recorded, by the way. So for anyone who's wanting to do AI security or incorporate that, which is part of Unit 6, we actually incorporate AI security and AI in general and prompt engineering in all of CyberLynk's course. So this will be something that you guys will be learning as well for those who are doing the CCSA course or those who are doing the Python for cybersecurity and automation. So essentially, these are the key injection vulnerabilities that LLMs are vulnerable to, and they've done an incredible job of actually going through and dissecting and actually showing you what an injection prompt might look like. So, for example, without me going too much into this, is essentially you could actually get. Do I want to? Yeah, that's all I want. Thank you very much. So you could convince an LLM to do something really nefarious. Can anyone tell me why this is bad? This.
Well, you could make malware. Or I don't
Aside
know,
from
you
Sarah and
can.
Nathan, I should probably clarify.
Because first and foremost, you can have AI make a malicious code for you or script or something like that.
Well, it says prompt here and rm tag rf /. Does anyone know why that is bad? Sorry. Thanks so much, Alex. Were you actually answering the question, or I wasn't sure if you were?
I thought you asked about the specific prompt, okay? Because I
Yeah.
thought you said what's bad about jailbreaking AI in general. So yeah.
Oh no, I'm asking about this specific command. I can already see people trying to ChatGPT it. Do not type that into ChatGPT. You'll be banned. By the way.
Sorry,
Huh?
Sam, is that using Linux? Because I remember doing
It's a
Linux stuff.
Linux command, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a
what does that
Linux
Linux
command,
command?
right?
Why is that Linux command? Why is this prompt injection dangerous?
Because I think it
It gives you
wipes
root. It
everything or
gives you root.
something.
It gives you root privilege.
Okay. Thanks so much, Francis. That's good. Sorry. Precious. Um.
Precious.
Yeah. I've got my name messed up today. By the way, I do accept that my
Uh,
names are messed up.
Uh, does it give you
so,
root privileges?
uh, Not quite, but that's a really good guess. Francis, go.
similar to that Precious was saying, I was looking at it from the Linux command line perspective. So does this is this command on the prompt? Where is this command used? Is it on
So
the
yeah,
prompt?
so basically, this is you going into ChatGPT and typing this command in there.
Okay,
All right.
all right. Uh, so it doesn't matter that's once you log into ChatGPT, doesn't matter whether it's for Mac, Linux, or Windows. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
imagining
Right.
how this came about.
No, that's
I know
actually
that that's
that's a really good point.
RM is removed, kind of removed. I'm not sure what the other one means, but yeah, more like taking directly uh, kind of having access to the directly of the system. removing some original LLM. I don't know how to put it, but just to get the LLM algorithm to work how the attacker wants it to work with the
Yeah,
prompts
yeah, and
the
absolutely.
attacker wants to give it to
Yeah,
corrupt some other, remove the original kind of original. Uh, uh, the languages. I'm not forgot a lot of
yeah,
languages on
that's
the
all
AI
right.
right
That's
now.
totally fine. You don't have to have the
my brain,
technical
my
jargon.
brain is blank. Yeah, I understand that. Jailbreaking is more like
Yeah,
prompting, more like persistence kind of.
yeah. Alex, I'm gonna keep you out of this for a second. Thanks so much, Francis, for that. Shay, I'm gonna call you out, right? Do you have any? Take a dig at it. Take a dab. And really, this is not a. And I want to reestablish and make it pretty clear to everyone that there is no such thing as the wrong answer here, and there is no such thing as a stupid question. The reason why I'm getting you guys to interact is because that is the only way you learn, right? By actually having a go. So, Shay, do you have any idea what that's doing?
Uh, if I'm gonna use Linux as a reference, RM's usually removed, so it's probably deleting something, and the slash is usually like the root folder, so maybe it's would delete some sort of or remove everything in that directory or something.
Yep. So for those who actually are doing the CCSA course, this is one of the commands that you had to practice on. So for those who don't know what this is, you need to go back and actually learn. Obviously, not everyone is doing the CCSA, so that's totally fine. So yeah, absolutely, Shay, you are right on point here. So this command is basically trying to get ChatGPT to delete its old file system, right? So and RM basically stands for remove, and then the tag RF, this R here stands for recursive. So it basically tells it to not prompt or ask questions if there is a file inside of another folder and then another folder. So if there's a recursive folder, um, you know, data, it tells you to basically go and remove it without worrying about asking me, do you want to remove everything inside of this folder? So typically, the way Windows and Linux works is that when you try to delete the data or delete file, it will tell you, hey, the data you're trying to remove is a directory. It might actually have data inside of it. Do you really want to delete this? So by telling it to recursively delete data, it's telling it to not care whether there's a file inside of another file, and then that the F option is actually telling it to force. So it's forcing it. So it's asking it not to ask questions. Just go and do it. And then the forward slash is actually referring to the root directory in Windows. I'm sorry, in Linux, and which includes all of the file systems. So things like etc, where all of this Windows, all of this. Sorry, why do I keep saying Windows? All of the Linux system, files are stored. It is going to get rid of all of that. User bin user, USR, it's going to remove everything from there. So it basically just crashes your system and deletes everything out of it. So that's what this is doing. Francis, go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sammy. My question is just a quick one. So once, why I want to know why this Linux command is being used. Does it mean that it's going to the LLM server, and the LLM server is more like a Linux server,
Yep,
or is
that
that
is
the reason
correct.
why?
That is correct. So when you interact with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whilst you're actually interacting with a web app, like it looks nice and flashy, the reality is that that thing you're interacting with is actually talking to a backend server that's probably 90% of the time running Linux operating system. So because it's running Linux operating system, basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to convince the LLM without it knowing it to go and run commands. So that's essentially what a command injection is in cybersecurity. So you're telling the LLM to go and run this command, and the LLM wouldn't know that you're trying to tell it to do this. You're kind of almost tricking it to go and delete its own file system, so it crashes. Now, most modern LLM platforms. So when I use the word LLM, I'm referring to large language model. Most modern LLM platforms do not fall prey to this particular injection vulnerability. We'll probably spend a little bit more time than I wanted to spend there, but essentially, this is essentially one of the things that you guys will be learning as part of the program. You'll be learning how to actually craft things like, if I go back here, pretend that you can access, looking at this place, you can actually pretend and ask an LLM to do something for you, even though its guardrail is prevented from doing it. So an example is if you want to get LLM to generate malware for you. By design, the guardrail and the filter that ChatGPT has would not allow it to generate malware for you. But what if you asked it to help you analyze the malware and then give you a sample of the malware that it analyzed? So essentially, you're reverse engineering the malware, the LLM platform, to give you the malware code without asking it directly to give you the malware code. That's essentially what LLM injection and vulnerabilities are referring to. So this is a really good article for anyone who wants to read. Again, if you don't have time to read it, that's all good. This is something that's going to be covered in as part of the course anyways. So I'll chuck it in the chat. Andre, do you have anything to say? Oh, right. Andre was sending it in here as well. All right, cool. Moving on to actually look at the one that I wanted us to take a look at today. So I wanted to
Sammy, I think Francis had his hand raised.
oh, I thought that was part of when he had his hand
That
raised
was
before.
that was the previous one.
Ah, yep, perfect. I figured. So I wanted to show you guys this one. Um, so it's not a very long article or a very long content, but I wanted to show you guys this to show you the power of what threat actors are able to do with the rapid evolution of technology. So essentially, Darcula or whatever it's however people pronounce it is a phishing as a service platform that threat actors actually use to clone websites. So you know how when you get that phishing email that looks very much like it came from Netflix? Well, basically what threat actors do is they go and clone a website that is belonging to Netflix and then use that same content to send phishing emails by modifying a few components within the email. Now, this too is not available for anyone to just go and buy. So this is only available on the dark web or through a private Telegram channel. Well, Telegram again, where all evil things are done, really. So having a look quickly here. So what's going on here is threat actors behind the Darcula phishing as a service platform appear to be readying a new version that allows prospective customers and cyber crooks to clone any brand's legitimate website and create a phishing version, further bringing down the technical expertise required to pull off phishing attacks at scale, right? So anyone can do this if you have this too. The latest iteration of the phishing suite represents a significant shift in criminal capabilities, reducing the barrier to entry for bad actors to target any brand with complex customizable phishing campaigns. Netcraft said in a new analysis, right? The cybersecurity company said it has detected and blocked more than 95,000 new Darcula phishing domains, nearly 31,000 IP addresses, and taking down more than 20,000 fraudulent websites since it was first exposed. Right? The biggest change incorporated into Darcula is the ability for any user to generate a phishing kit for any brand in an on-demand fashion. The new and remastered version is not ready for testing. The core developers behind the service said in a post made on January the 19th, 2025, so this was literally just about a month ago, in a Telegram channel that has over 1,200 subscribers. Now you can also customize the front end yourself using Dracula's suite. Again, this is in quote. You can complete the production of a front end of a website in 10 minutes. To do this, all a customer has to do is provide the URL of the brand they want to impersonate in a web interface, with the platform employing a browser automation tool like Puppeteer to export the HTML and all required assets. Users can then select the HTML elements to replace and inject the phishing content, e.g., payment forms and login forms, such that it matches the look and feel of the rebranded login page. The generated phishing page is then uploaded to an admin panel. Like any software as a service product, the Dracula suite, a phishing as a service platform, provides admin dashboards that makes it simple for fraudsters to manage their various campaigns. Security researcher Harry Freeborough, is that right? Freeborough said, once generated, these kits are uploaded to another platform where criminals can manage their active campaigns, and find extracted data and monitor their deployed phishing campaigns. So without reading too much into this further, I think the one that really struck out to me is this one here. So basically, once they use this tool called Puppeteer to actually export all of the HTML on your website. So an example is, say for example, we go to CyberLynk website right now, right? we could literally just take this website, give it to that tool called Darcula, and then Puppeteer would basically export all of the HTML that is from this website. So for those who do not know, to get to the actual code that is responsible for rendering this website, you need to right click on the website and then go to inspect or view page. You can also find this as well by using the Control U shortcut on your keyboard. Obviously, this is with depending on the browser version that you're using. But let's say we go to view the source code for this. It opens a new page when it actually loads. There you go. So this is the HTML code that is actually running this. Obviously, there's some HTML, there's some CSS, and there's some potentially some JavaScript in there as well. Why isn't it zooming? I realize that's very small for you guys. So, but the zoom function. Oh, finally. Okay, there we have it. So this is the actual HTML code that is responsible for rendering this website. So what that tool, Dracula would do is basically use Puppeteer to copy, clone this, and have a website that looks exactly like CyberLynk. And then in this case, if assuming CyberLynk had a login form here, like for a place for you to log in, typical websites like Facebook or your bank provider, your banking provider, like Combank or GT Bank or any of those other banks that are out there, would have a login page where users will log on. So you would basically receive an email that says, "Hey, your password has expired," or "Your Combank password has expired," and it looks exactly like it was coming from Combank. And back in the days, before tools like Darcula, which is why this is a big deal. Before then, before now, before the invention of tools like Darcula, threat actors relied on manually doing this, and because of that, you would see obvious mistakes like errors, spelling mistakes, and sentence formation issues. But now with the use of tools such as Darcula and Puppeteer, you can actually copy the same website word for word without having any mistakes there or anything that kind of gives it away. So Abdallah, you got you're mute. Somehow I can't hear you. Is it just me? You saw that your audio. We'll go to Precious. Oh, there you go. You're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, loud and clear.
Sorry. I wanted to ask if they're cloning the whole page, does that include the name of the website word for word?
Yep, it clones literally everything.
But isn't there something that, since I'm opening, let's say, the website in Google, isn't there something that prevents you from, aren't domain names kind of
Ah, right. You
preserved?
mean cloning the domain, not the name. Right. Okay, that makes sense. No, they're not able to clone the domain. So this is where they use basically lookalike domains to host the website. So, and without going too deep here, one of the things you guys some people are learning in the CSA course, CCSA certified cybersecurity analyst. All right, and the regex course, and those who are doing practical regex for cybersecurity or the Python for cybersecurity and automation. One of the things that you will learn is something called ASCII. So ASCII is essentially what I guess detects. I don't know if detect is the right word here. Is how we are actually able to tell computers what alphabets are. Right. So because of this, one of the key things I wanted to show you guys is that depending on where you're from, this A, I don't know if you guys can see this, depending on what language you speak, this A is different from the other A that has that looks a little bit different. And also you could have Google that's with an O or a zero. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can do that you can actually use to bypass um, you know things like subdomain or lookalike domain. So an example, I've seen phishing emails that probably have instead of two zeros in Google, it'll have three O's. So it's like G's OGLE. So that way, if from the naked eye point of view, if you're looking at it, you're like, oh, well, it's Google, right? Because your eyes probably doesn't detect that in additional zero or O in there. Let me see if I can find the one that's not English, because that's English, so I can show you guys this. Um,
If you're looking for non-English characters, you're probably looking for Unicode.
Yeah, so there's the table that I used to have that actually showed me every single thing. I'm not sure uh, where to find that. Well, this is probably explain what I'm trying to explain. So, why is everything slow for me today? Jeez, that's bad. So for those who can actually see my screen without going into there, so basically threat actors can do a myriad of different things. So they can actually change the word. So in this case, you've got domain.biz, domain.com, domain.gov, right? They can literally go and create domain.net, right? And someone might actually look at that and think it belongs to the same business and the same organization. Now, this is not necessarily that nefarious. The one I'm referring to is the one where the A's are actually different. I'm just trying to find that. Nathan, you probably know what I'm talking about, but why do
I
I?
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Jukes. The A is different. They change um they put A there, but it's different behind the scene, the back end.
Yeah. So look at that. So you see that A? It's probably those are the same. Give me a second. Uh, did not blind for this. So where do I find this? So basically, there are two types of A's. If I do draw.io instead, um, since I can't seem to find anything useful. Um, all right, so let's say someone wanted to, I guess, impersonate the domain. So say the domain is steakhouse, if I can spell house.com, and so they essentially perform or use the tool like Darcula to perform, to clone their website, the original website for steakhouse.com, and then they host a new domain. So the domain would basically have a domain with instead of this kind of the A that has a forward like that thingy, it'll have the A with if I can get a thing to draw, that would be nice. Um, um, all I just want is to demonstrate this. The A will probably look more like if I go at so that one looks like that. It'll probably look more like this. So you could probably, again, this is not what I'm trying to show, but you could probably have this .com. So from an end user's point of view, if you're looking at these two domains, if the two A's are pretty similar, Nathan is probably laughing at me going, surely you can find another A. Um, um, you mean Unicode? Let me try. Nathan, you did say Unicode characters. So
Yeah.
um, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So let me put that out.
The dangerous thing about Unicode characters is that the character looks exactly the same as UTF-8, but the code that makes it up is completely different.
So if I get rid of all that, That's not what I'm wanting. Um, okay, that's what I want. So having a look at this. So you see that A? That A is different from this A, as far as a computer is concerned. Right. So, and like Nathan said, this A actually would have a completely different composition, complete different, binary representation on the computer. So if someone went and did exactly what I did with that kind of A, that I just showed, I think I just closed it off. With that kind of A that I just showed, you would actually not be able to detect that with the naked eye, and that's the key here. So threat actors would essentially go and create and register lookalike domains, and then use that to send a phishing email. Apologies, guys, for taking so long. I wasn't expecting that question, but that's essentially what could happen, Abdallah, where threat actors would basically clone the website, go and register lookalike domains, and then use that to host the new website. So that they do it in a way that the naked eye is not suspecting it, right? Because there are different fully qualified domain names. So a fully qualified domain name, or the what's the word I'm looking for? The the top level domain name. So the top level domain name, which is the .com or .net or .io. So an example is CyberLynk is .io. Someone can go and clone our CyberLynk website and create a cyberlink.net, and then use that to send you an email. As an end user, you're not really thinking about that much. You're not thinking about the fact that CyberLink doesn't own .net domains. Hopefully that I guess clears that up. Precious, you had a question before I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. So this tool that's used to create that attackers used to create websites in minutes. Is it with the help of AI or how's this tool developed that it's making it so sophisticated?
Obviously using some LLM in the backend, and I'm guessing probably using Worm GPT or Ghost GPT. So these are the two large language models that are leveraged
Because
by threat actors.
because I remember when we had a seminar, I think that was last year, with the remember that lady from the I remember the lady that came. Tamika, I remember when we were at BlueCon
Yeah.
on a weekday that we had this lady was telling us that she doesn't see AI being used to help attackers. And
Well,
months later, we are seeing this.
right. One of the panelists at BlueCon, I'm
Yes,
guessing. Yeah. Well,
yes.
obviously, that is very optimistic, but yes, we are seeing not just this. There's a lot of. I've just posted those two things, so you guys can Google what Ghost GPT and Worm GPT are. So these are large language models that are being used by threat actors as we speak right now to generate really well written phishing emails, that are very convincing. Fahan, you go before, and we need to jump into the other content soon.
Sammy, how can we differentiate between that clone and original website? Is there any way,
Yes.
or how are we gonna track that thing?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, by the way. So the one way to do it, there's the technical way and there's the manual way. So one way to do it is to actually create something called a domain registration notification. So this is essentially where you go and like you register. There is actually tools such as Sensei.io, Shodan, that are actually crawling the internet 24/7. So whenever someone registers a new domain, it'll basically pop up there as, hey, this domain has come online. So you can register something called a notification service that would tell you when someone registers a domain that looks like your domain. So that's one way to do it. But obviously, again, we are more technical guys, technical people. So the one way to do it from a technical point of view is to use the tool called DNS Twist that I showed. I think I showed you guys that. I think NerdKnight 14 or 15. We can do that again if people are keen to see how that is done again. You can actually use DNS Suite to generate by yourself lookalike domain for yourself, and then create a use case, that is based on a lookup. So you can create a use case, whether it that be on Sentinel or in Splunk or Curator or any other SIM tool out there, and then you point your use case logic to look at the file or the lookup table that you just created, and that contains all of your lookalike domains. And what you're basically doing there is that you want to be notified, or you want that alert to trigger whenever someone uses that domain in your environment. So that's one way. So I created a use case like that, and we actually used it to pick up malicious activity in client environment in the past. So that pathway is actually the cheapest way to do it, because you don't have to go pay some external monitoring service to keep monitoring for you. You can actually use DNS twist. So I'm gonna chuck that too in the chat as well
Yep.
for those who want to play with it. It's a really 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 good tool. So if you guys haven't looked at it before, I definitely recommend playing with it. Let me put it in. I think they've got an online version now. So let's say cyberlynk.io. We search. I've never used the online tool, so let's see what it comes back as. So this scan is basically going through, and it's scanning every single domain that contains or
With the
that is a
CyberLynk.
variation of cyberlink.
Yep.
Sorry, someone said something?
And
So it's basically coming back with result. And what you can see here, these are the results that have actually been resolved, right? So it's saying that no one has registered this, no one has registered this, right? So that's essentially what it's trying to say there. But for the ones that actually has been registered, so again, I'm showing you guys an IP address, right? So there is one for CyberLink with an I. So it's basically just going to run through this search and give you the result. So based on this result, you can actually download a JSON or a CSV version of it. So let's say we download a JSON version of it and we open that. And you can actually use this. So you can take this now, clean it up, and use this as a lookup table in something like Sentinel. Obviously, you need to clean it up first, right? Because there are some of these that you're like, all right, these are legitimate businesses that are our competitors. You don't want to be alerted by them. You can literally just get rid of those ones, and then everything else that you know that, all right, this is probably someone trying to impersonate our organization. Like, look at that, cyberlink.eu.
you.
Who's that in Netherlands? I have no idea. All right. Again, I chose the worst name because CyberLink is a very popular domain. So let's assume your domain is farhan.com. Well, the chances of someone having another domain is very slim. So that's essentially how you can basically use DNS Swift Twist, sorry, DNS Twist to generate those lookalike domains and then lock them in. Does that make sense, Farhan?
Yep.
Cool. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have a quick question. So I think, because I remember some time ago that I'll just get to it. I'm getting from a very far point. So Metasploit has different tools in it, right? Because it's a framework and everything.
Yes.
And is it true that, because I think from what I remember, it has a phishing website creator or something like that, right?
Yes,
With the tool
I'm
set?
guessing you're not. It's not necessarily Metasploit. It's just the Kali Linux box. But I don't think it actually comes by default. So I'm guessing you're referring to GoFish. Are you?
Sorry?
Are you referring to GoFish?
Maybe, yeah, because I remember going through, because I think it was like a try hack me or something. It was ages ago. I don't know why I remembered about it now. Yeah, and there was there was several, they were going through several steps to get the answers and everything. But and one of them said there was he just said, okay, if you go here and use this choice and go down that option, you'll have an opportunity to, is it like a phishing website create or something like that. So
Yeah, I know of GoFish, which is used for that, and that lab. There's actually a lab for that on the Link Academy. For those who want to do that, we actually have a lab for that that actually helps that you actually go through and create a whole phishing campaign, and then send an email to fish@cyberlink.io, and someone is actually going to click the link, and you would get a report back showing that here's how it gives you a real world example of how phishing works. So for anyone who hasn't done that, that is actually in unit 3. So that's one thing to try there. But I'm not sure of any Metasploit module that is used for phishing. So let's actually find out if there's one. Yeah, I don't see any phishing toolset here
Okay.
for Metasploit. Yeah. So I
Means
think
either I
yeah,
misunderstood
yeah.
it or yeah,
I think
or the guy
you might
was.
actually be referring to GoFish. So GoFish, you can actually install that on Linux. So that's the one that we've got on Linux Academy. So if you want to have a look at that, obviously, if you want to do that lab, it's already available for you to do. So here's an example of how this works. Does anyone have any other question before we round up the threat landscape session? That went longer than I wanted, but hopefully someone learned something from that rambling that I went on. Does anyone have anything to add? Sarah, Nathan? It's quiet. It's making me worried.
We might just be doing some ethical threat hacking in the background. That's probably why it's quiet.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Just wanted to obviously, and I'm not sure if Chiche is still here, if she's actually following along, because this actually went in a different direction. I think she probably dropped off, maybe too detailed. Just wanted to quickly dive into the main content for today. So thanks so much everyone for playing along. So all right, the main reason why we're all here today: threat incident response tabletop exercises. So what is it? So one of the key things that I think is a really key skill to have is conceptualizing cybersecurity in a way that you're able to speak about it. And I think I've said this before. Most technical people who are nerds don't actually know how to talk about what it is that they do in cyber. And the reality is, and I learned this, after many years in the industry, that as a technical person, you're actually the last line of decision making. So if someone has made a decision that there is a risk in the organization that is going to impact the business some way, one way or the other, right? You got to remember this, pay attention to what I'm saying to you right now. And then another person has made a decision that to resolve that risk, that they need to buy a tool, and then another person made a decision of what tool to buy. And then you, as a technical implementer, you are literally the last person in the end of the queue chain. So your CISO goes off to a conference, and someone gives him a bottle of beer, and then goes, "Hey, here's this new firewall. It can detect cockroaches in your network." And the CISO pays
Oh
for it and
boy.
signs the contract, and then brings that firewall back to the office and goes, "Hey, there you go. Go and implement that firewall." So you can see how, as being a technical person, you have been removed from the decision-making part of this equation. Now, you can resolve that issue by having the ability to communicate cybersecurity. And this allows you to then become someone who influences decision making. So in your role, you can then go back to your CISO and go, hey, thank you very much, sir. I understand that you've gone to solve this problem. I really appreciate it. But based on the research that I've conducted, here are the business risks that we have. Here's what I think we should be doing about it. So that way, you're not just the guy who sits in the basement doing exactly what your CISO wants you to do without having any say in it. So that's the key, one of the key reasons why having things like the tabletop exercise is really good for someone who's technical to understand. Now, obviously, I haven't given you guys the definition of the incident response tabletop exercise at all. I've just given you an example of why you should care in the first place from a technical point of view. So, what are we going to learn today? We're going to look at the definition of the incident response tabletop. We're going to look at how it works, and we're going to look at what are the key benefits to organizations that are partaking in this. And then, obviously, we definitely do not have time, so we'll probably do this next week Saturday. Is we would actually play a game called Backdoors and Breaches, like I said to you guys already. So that game actually takes us through a scenario-based incident bridge, which is one of the things that you guys would have seen in chapter one or unit one of the CCSA course, which is essentially a simulated bridge, and then you are basically supposed to analyze it. Now that is technical. What we're going to be doing with backdoors and bridges is very what's the word I'm looking for here? It it's very made up.
Inside.
Yes, so it's very made up. It's not an actual real thing. The stuff that you guys have, the things that we have on the Link Academy is a little bit more technical. It is actually more like actual real threat that you guys need to investigate. Some of them we've actually obfuscated, but this is more awareness based and behavioral or situational based. So let's actually go through and define what IR tabletop for the benefit of the tongue twisting and the tongue tying. I'll probably just call it II tabletop from now. So incident response tabletop exercise is a simulated discussion-based cybersecurity exercise designed to test an organization's incident response plan, process, and team coordination without executing real attacks. So essentially, what we're reading here is literally us pretending. It's basically playing pretend game, right? It's a role play activity that tests an organization's incident response plan. So, for an example, let's say a big bank, they need to be ready for when they get breached by a threat actor, or maybe they get attacked by ransomware. So they need to have processes and procedures and personnel in place that can help them recover from such threat. So to do that, they need to constantly perform something called IR tabletop exercise. So that's essentially what this is used for. So even though they might not have been hacked already, by doing this, the personnel and the people and processes that have been put in place are able to better defend the real threat when one comes through. Right. So one of the key benefits of it, obviously, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, all good, Sarah. Enjoy and have a good one. Cheers. So one of the key
Bye.
bye. So before we talk about essentially, the benefits and why it's useful and whatnot, let's actually talk about how does IR tabletop work in general? Like, what would this look like? So quite often you would find this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 steps or 5 key, I guess, outline whenever you're seeing an incident response tabletop. So you've got this scenario development. So this is essentially when you're going, all right, we are going to pretend that we've been hacked by a threat actor, and that threat actor is, APT44.
Ade,
And sorry,
Ethan, are you still awake?
I I don't
Well,
think.
he's just muted
Oh,
himself,
right.
so I
Yeah.
think, yeah, he's not
So
talking to you.
yeah, it was definitely not talking to me. So we are pretending that, hey, this organization has been hit by a ransomware attack. So based on that, we're going to then go, all right, what are the hallmark of a ransomware attack? Well, quite often, a lot of threat actors, when they ransomware you, you would get a ransom note, and then based on that ransom note, you need to start doing some key or taking some key actions, and those key actions that you're going to take is essentially we're going to be doing through the backdoors and breaches game. So now we start assigning roles. So there's the incident coordinator. So the person who is responsible for making sure that everyone is kept up to the mark in doing their jobs. And then you have the communication manager. So the person who is communicating, making sure that they're speaking with the media if there's a need to do that. And then you have the technical SMEs, the people who are actually doing the incident response in the background. So there are different roles that exist within an incident response tabletop, and then you do a walkthrough and discussion. So this is essentially where you go, all right, here's exactly what is going on, and this is something that would actually happen in a real organization. So whenever, say, an organization get hacked, so an example is when Optus got hacked, they would have done this. They would have sat down. The senior management would have sat down and gone, oh, all right, let's actually figure out what we're going to do about this. We've been hacked by who? So that discussion and walkthrough is essentially really essential for people to come together in a singular room and discuss how they're going to resolve the issue. And then obviously decision making and documentation. So often when you're doing an incident response tabletop, you want to have someone from the senior management being part of it, because ultimately you need senior management buy-in for any of this to be effective. So like the CEO or the CIO, or even the chairman of the board if possible. I know that's asking for it, but by having those high level decision making buy-in, you are then able to execute an effective incident response tabletop exercise. And then you have obviously the debrief and lesson learned. So at the end of every incident response tabletop exercise, you want to go through and figure out what you learned through that process. Was it effective? Was it ineffective? And then use that information that you've gathered to update the processes that you had created in the past. Before I go further, does anyone have any question or anything to add?
Well,
Nothing to add. I am
in your
curious though.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Andre.
sorry, in your company, how often do you do a tabletop exercise? Is it like once a year or after an event
Well,
or twice a
it
year?
depends. The recommendation from NIST is that you do one once a year at minimum, right? So NIST is the American body. So I think it's National Information Security. I don't want to butcher that. Let me go and find out what NIST stands for.
National Institute
Of
Mm.
Science
Standard and
Standard
Technology. Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Technology.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So
Also, the
The
ISM
Victorian
also
also
ISM
mimics
also
that.
have there's also a recommendation in the ISM,
yeah,
Australia Information Security Manual of Australia on
yeah,
how
So
frequent you have
so
to
NIST
test it. Test
your
your
NIST has like process on how you respond to incident response. It has identify, protect, detect, respond, recover, and govern. This helps you respond to incident response. It's brought by the United States, and it helps companies respond to cyber attacks.
yeah. That is correct. So basically, I guess
yeah
to answer your question, Andre. Obviously, I'm going to keep my organization out of the conversation. But typically, what you would see is that it's done once a year. Because this actually takes resources. So at bare minimum, this needs to happen once a year.
yeah. From Australian context, if we are working in Australia and you are working in a company that follows like essential eight, those ISM recommendations. So still like I think once a year or twice. I think it's twice
Yeah,
every 6 months.
some
The
people recommend every once every 6 months. But typically,
yeah
most people agree that because of obviously depending on the size of the organization, because of the scale of resources required, because quite often to run an incident response
yeah
tabletop exercise, you don't hire new people. It's the same people that are in the organization that you basically pull out of projects to come do this. So because of that resource crunch, quite often you will see organizations doing it once a year. Does anyone have anything else to add? Questions as well?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
You were talking about before about people sitting in the basement. Am I the guy sitting in the basement, or am I the guy making the decision for the CISOs?
That's a good question. We'll take that offline.
I don't know. I love Nathan. You don't understand. He looks like a typical professor in uni. You need
I
to go
look
and
like a
become a
professor
lecturer.
in uni. Oh gosh.
That's the worst place Nathan wants to be. That's the last place he wants to be a professor
You
at
can
uni.
go there and be teaching them Python.
Oh, cool.
I can guarantee you that no professor is going to teach you how to hack and actually have actual skills in it.
I went to uni. They never did. They just give you assignments, and that was it.
I
And
gotta,
labs. That
gotta
was
figure
it.
it out. Yeah, so obviously, just moving on real quickly because I know we've already gone off pretty quick. Gone over by well, we are still on time because we didn't start that early. But the key thing to note here is that why is this important? Why should organizations be wasting their resources, right, doing this? Why should they care? Well, it turns out that it actually helps to ensure that the response team know their roles and responsibility. So an example is, say an incident occurs in a big organization, and if no one knows who to go to report that incident to, well, that's an incident that is basically going to easily become a matter of of major catastrophe. An example is if it's an incident that is time sensitive, so let's say, for example, that it's a sensitive organization like a hospital. Every single extra minute that goes by with that incident still not being resolved, it's actually costing them money, and it actually has a detrimental impact, which is for someone might actually die. So if it's a ransomware attack, and for some reason that ransomware spreads to an MRI machine, while someone is getting a scan done, it could actually fry the person. So this is the key thing here is that by establishing that communication channel, you're able to know, let's say that the first incident happens at help desk, the help desk analyst somehow unintentionally download a piece of malware, and because they know that, oh, if I see something like this, I need to reach out to the SOC or to reach out to this person, they're able to follow that standard or that procedure that's already been in existence, and they can move on, and hopefully the organization will be able to resolve that issue before it becomes a major issue. Um, there's this meme. Actually, I should probably look for it. So resolving incident response by pulling off the network power cable. Has anyone seen that meme before?
Probably.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
That should probably be what we should. I just thought of it right now. That's what I should have done for this one. It's
Well,
like,
I guess you should send the meme over to my sister and she can make it a shirt.
ah, jeez. That's the meme. This is it here. Let me pull it out. So where is the chat? That's the one. Well, has anyone seen that before?
Yep, absolutely.
So that's probably the meme I should have, I should have put in here. But that's why that's important. So obviously, another thing as well, it also helps identify strengths and weaknesses in the plan. So again, incident response tabletop exercises often are done after an incident response plan has been put in place. An incident response plan is essentially a document or list of documentations or procedures and processes that have been put in place to ensure that an organization is able to respond to a cyber incident. This is documented and stored. So to test that that is actually effective, you run an incident response tabletop exercise. So it also helps promote changes in attitude and perception. So it actually helps everyone keep, be aware or understand the importance of why the incident response plan was developed in the first place, right? So essentially keep everyone on their toe. It also helps work out problem areas in peacetime, right? So an example is what that is saying is you shouldn't wait until when you get hacked before you know how to respond to a hack. So therefore, by running an incident response tabletop exercise, you're able to do things like that. So we're assessing team readiness. We're identifying gaps where those gap exists in the IR plan, enhancing team coordination, and we're improving decision making. Right. So by providing training to key stakeholders or SMEs, you're able to make sure that you're able to address any potential pitfalls in technical in powers or technical know-how. So yeah, for the sake of today, do you guys want to, I guess, try having a go at playing this game, or do you think we should do that next week? I'm looking at the time. This game needs at least the game itself needs at least
Half an hour.
half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. We can do it next week. There's no need to rush it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
next week.
going
Yeah.
to
Next week, yeah.
go. Like,
I've got some of these decks in my system before.
yeah, next week we can
Yeah, but
do it.
I'll do it next week.
All right, cool. So for the time being, since we're going to end on time today, let's let everyone go back and
It's
start
times.
studying. No, that's good.
It's nearly
So
11:10.
yeah,
10:30. Yeah.
if anyone, this is the first time you're hearing about backdoors and breaches, I recommend going and obviously doing some research and watching some videos so you know how it works. But with that, I will obviously hang it over to everyone to start asking questions. Fire away. Does anyone need anything? Or actually, Precious, you've got your hand up already.
No, I did not.
Well, someone needs to lower your
And
hand.
Oh. So let me just ask, are we going to use tools for next week? Personally, is there anything we need to download for next week game
No. This,
or
this game, you can download the game, but we're gonna play it online.
okay?
Yep. So it's online.
I think it used to be free before, but I think they plan to sell it after some time.
Yeah.
So away from the anti-siphon, anti-phony, the anti-siphon,
uh,
Black Hills.
yeah. That's Black Information Technology that built it. Um,
Yeah.
it is still free, but if you want to host it or download it, you have to pay for it. So you can just play online. So for us, we don't care. We just want to play online. So there's no need for us to download it. All right, cool. And does anyone have any
That's
questions,
great. Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. I just want to ask, did we cover all the topics today,
Yep. I
or
basically
we
I basically
continue next
breezed
week?
through it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did not want to
No,
go too
that
deep.
was a good one.
I did not want to go too deep into incident response tabletop exercise because it's very theoretical. And the only reason I actually brought it up today was because I thought, why go and play backdoors and breaches when you guys don't actually understand what that is referring to? So that was why I'm like, oh, last minute, let me quickly actually put together content for the actual background of why the game is relevant. So here we are. We ended up doing the background without playing
Uh,
the game. Oh, jeez, that sucks.
yeah, it's actually a good topic anyway.
Yeah, because you're
Topic
in
that most
GRC,
people
you
don't,
love it.
most people always shy away from. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's very important to understand how everything fits together. Technical, a bit of technical, a bit of GRC, a bit of everything. At the end of the day, it can work in silo.
No,
The silo kind of work is not. It used to be like that in the case before in cyber, but in the recent times, it need to be kind of holistic. You know, if you also look at the most of the certifications, they are beginning to add the business part of cyber into
yeah,
the technical part of the certifications. Yeah, just like the CASP, the one you did, Sammy,
yeah, the
the
CISSP.
cyber,
Oh,
the
sorry,
other one,
yeah, the CASP. Yeah,
CompTIA.
yeah, capped. Yeah,
Yeah, CASP now is now Security X now.
yeah. I don't know
So
why they changed
they
the
have
name.
a full domain assigned to security, governance, risk, and compliance.
Yeah,
And I also had Cisco, CCNA is gonna start adding some of that kind of domains. So that
that
tells
is
you that it's very important.
that is absolutely correct. And essentially what I was saying around how decision gets made is that most people in cybersecurity don't actually know that. I actually did not know that until I got into, obviously, like, climb the cybersecurity ladder and found out what's going on. Is that, like, someone like a pen tester, you are pretty much the last man in that chain of command. Someone has made a decision that they need to do a pen test, and you're just the guy who is coming there to do it. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not fun. It just means that you're removed from the decision making a lot of the times. So you just need to find a way to balance. Like I always say, is you need to balance, like you said as well, Francis. You need to do a bit of, do a bit of the governance side of things, understand how security works, and how security is a component of a business unit as well, right? You need to understand that security is not just, it's not the be all and end all. Businesses need to still function. Ultimately, the businesses exist. Well, when I say business, I mean private sector businesses, like private businesses and public businesses, not government entities or non-for-profit organizations. They exist
Yes.
to make a profit, and quite
So
often,
does that mean? Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, it's all right. What's that?
Don't worry. Just keep
Yeah.
talking. It wasn't important.
So quite often, basically, what happens is that before you can get an organization to go and spend $5 million or $6 million to develop a security or to build a security outfit, you need to be able to validate to them that if they don't do that, it's going to cost them, at least 10x that money that they're spending. So it needs to be, hey,
Uh,
spend 5 million now so you can save 50 million. That's ultimately the reason why
yeah,
business, so they're making that decision from a risk point of view. The same way you pay your insurance, your car insurance, is essentially how businesses treat cybersecurity. They see it as a necessary evil. Like if you don't do it, you might end up paying more. Like imagine if you don't buy your car insurance and you drive out and go and hit, and you hit a Porsche or a Mustang, right? You probably will
I
be in
have
debt
I
for a
have
very
one.
long time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a pen tester, and this is a recent situation. So he's a pen tester. He did some pen testing, and he sent some reports to us. And the management wants him to, yeah, kind of, if let me not let me uncensor the classification of the data. So this guy, the report he sent was rejected, was kind of rejected because he used a whole lot of technical jargons in his report, and the senior management doesn't understand what he's talking
So it's like,
about.
who's gonna read this?
They ask him, "Can you go back to try to explain what you're trying to say?" So I was, yeah, trying to let him understand the executive summary, what
Yeah,
the essence of that
yeah,
does. So you need to understand how to do this. So while you're still learning cyber, again, you have to start learning how to write.
Oh yeah.
right? Cyber writing, cyber communication, cyber presentation. All those are actually the 70% of what success to climb. Like Sammy can be Sammy today if he only knows hands-on.
Oh yeah. If I only knew how to do technical stuff, I probably would be where I am today. That you're right. So it's that combination of both that really makes a difference. All right, cool. Does anyone have any other thing to add? Questions? I will finish in 3 minutes.
Since you and I, Sammy, know nothing about GRC, does that mean
Well, I do know. I know a lot
Francis
about
is going to
GRC.
become? You do, you do.
Yeah,
Is
but
Francis going to become one of the mentors for GRC?
why not?
My last role was GLC.
Why not? I was thinking. I was having a chat with Francis yesterday, and I told him, dude, you're gonna have to start teaching soon. Why
Fingers
not?
crossed. Yeah, I just have to make out the time. Yeah,
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 it's
but
time.
yeah,
Time is a big deal, my friend. Time is a big deal.
yeah,
We
it
can
cuts
pay
across
Francis
a
in
lot,
snakes.
a whole lot of things. It cuts across being adaptable. Like you should be able to understand technical enough. You should be able to understand security architecture to some extent. You should be able to understand the the governance part of it. I don't really like the governance part of it, like policies and all that. No, that's basically for the lawyers. But we have no option than to understand the policies as well. You know, and risk and everything. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's more like a technical on when you look at the cybersecurity as a whole. The technical part is like it's a a good foundation to build, like the way we are doing in CyberLynk now. But in the long run, it's gonna be like 40% or 50% of everything you're gonna do. If you wanna go too far, you do that. And communication is very important. Yeah, communication skills and confidence, the ability to speak with others, those uh the C-suite stakeholders within the cyber field seems to be like more like bullies. They try to test your confidence a lot and your ability to understand the business as a whole a lot. And if you don't have that capability, they try to, as much as possible to push you kind of out.
Great.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. No, that's pretty awesome. That's good. All right. If no one has anything else to add, I'm pretty much working tonight as well. In my workplace, so I'm covering a shift for someone. So if no one has anything else to say, I'll probably stop recording real quick. So thanks so much everyone who's able to join and watch the session later. This was a quick short one that talked about essentially AI vulnerabilities, injection vulnerabilities. There are five key ones which we've talked about. There is linked in the description for you to have a look at that. And we also talked about essentially what threat actors are doing to clone websites and then use that to host a phishing domain. And we talked about how you can obviously detect that and prevent against it. And we also looked at what incident response tabletop exercises are. We looked about why they're important, what they're used for, the benefit of them. And next week, as we agreed, we'll be playing some games. So it's going to be game on next week. So looking forward to see it and having everyone at that session. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you later. Cheers. Bye.